Hello, friends. Good evening. I'm doing okay. Doing all right. Oh, shit. I didn't plug in my mic. Hang on. I'm sorry, Instagram. The sound is probably terrible. There we go. That should be much better, Instagram. But yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie to you. I tend to be pretty transparent on my channel, and there's just a lot of stuff going on right now. There's just a lot of stuff going on over here, and yeah, I just got back from seeing my husband in the hospital, so yeah. So it's been a challenging couple of days, but we're here. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, he's all right. At least I think he's gonna be. I'm optimistic. So yeah, this is Subscriber Live, as well as TikTok super fans and YouTube members. So thank you so much for your paid support. Hey, Tyler. Thank you so much for your paid support. I really appreciate it. Thursday nights are now the new night for Subscriber Live, so it is exclusive to you all. So welcome to it. But yeah, like I said, we're going through a challenging time over here. But I still gotta work. And I kind of need these lives, to kind of worry about other things than what's going on. So, and and Dustin's mom's in town as well. So, and she's been a great help, and she's dedicated to being with him as much as she can right now. So, so I'm kind of able to take somewhat of a backseat and let her mom, you know what I mean? It's kind of it's a good thing. And it's a weird situation because I want to be there as much as I can. Wait, what? Yeah, Tyler, I'm sorry. I will call you, Tyler, or text you with details. But yeah, Dustin's not doing great. He's in the hospital right now. So, yeah. He's probably going to be in there for a minute. Yeah, it is a lot. It is a lot. And he's not doing great. So it's a scary time. But I'm optimistic, and his doctors are figuring it out, So we're still in the figuring it out stage of things. So, yeah. But I thought we would do maybe like a collective read, perhaps. And then we have the next story in Hark the Herald Angel Scream. So join me for a much needed distraction from what's going on in my life right now. Hi, I'm Adam. I wanted to send you a message. So I bought Superfan Santas to let you know that many, and then you got cut off. So let me know that many people are thinking of you and hoping that you are doing well. I personally am rooting for you. Thank you so much. Thank you kindly. I really appreciate that. I need it. Yeah. Thank you so much. I sincerely appreciate that. Good evening, Kev. Hello, my friend. So yeah, well, I figured we would do a collective read and maybe take some volunteers from the chat, and then we're gonna read. What is the next story? It's called "Fresh as the New Fallen Snow." All right, this one's got some pages to it. Okay, so I got to make sure we get. Oh no, wait, it's got a. Okay, that's not bad. It goes to page 51. Okay. Yeah, it's like, yeah, that's cute. That's gonna be a fine. That'll be fun. That's a cute little story. It's like 12 pages. It's not bad. I haven't stopped thinking about that last story with the figurines, right? With the figurines at the end, and they were like, "Oh, and why isn't the baby crying?" You know, like, "Oh my god." How are the puppies? They're fucking fine. You know what I mean? Like they're fine. The bullies are bullying, you know, and Brahmin's being an old man. So, but yeah, they're fine. Orzo's got a new thing now where he's tearing shit up when he's left alone. We leave Orzo in the kitchen right now, and he had a couple of. I thought he was my trustworthy little baby, but he's chaos, little jackass. He had a garbage party one night in the kitchen by himself, and then I came home today just now, and he had somehow found like a box of used utensils out of the pantry and like knocked over his food container trying to get the food out. Like he's a little jackass, but he's fine. Yeah, they're good. The dogs are good. They're fine. They're doing their thing. Yeah, Orzo's cute, and that's how he gets away with murder. Oh, Tyler, you're a good person to ask this. Phantom of the Opera, Christmas, yes or no? Does it give you a Christmas vibe? Does it give you a festive feel? My 2-year-old Chihuahua Jack Mix is now eating electronics with batteries. I love that for you. Yeah. Yeah, Orzo ate a bunch of utensils randomly. Great, thanks. And Dustin likes lukewarm soda. So we leave it like in the box, like next to the counter on the floor, you know, like in a row, all of them. And there was one day where I came home and Orzo had ripped open all of the soda boxes and the sodas were just all over the floor. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Rum said it does have the winter scenes that are epic, but I don't know about Christmas. Tyler says it does. I think it does. I always get this. Right, exactly. Wishing you were somehow here again. It's the snow. You know what I'm saying? It's the snow and the winter and all of that. But there is also this like melodic thing to it to me. I don't know. I feel like all it's missing is a tree. You know? The stillness of winter is the eerie Christmas. Yes. The rooftop. Yes, exactly. The rooftop scene. Oh my God, Tyler, we're on the same wavelength. I was just about to say that. The Masquerade is absolutely giving holiday party. Absolutely. Oh yeah, it is there. It's like their end of the year party, isn't it? So it fully is winter. Yes. Yep. Ramen, what are you doing? Okay, I'm just checking. Where's everybody? Okay, check on these damn dogs. Can we now talk about how Die Hard is not a Christmas movie? Listen, okay. How are we defining what is and is not a Christmas movie? How are we defining this? Do you know what I mean? What's the line? That's my question. Hang on. It is. It starts with the holiday Christmas party. There is none, and we should just let it fly. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah. I would live for a masquerade Christmas. The wardrobe would be sickening. It would be. Personally, I'm a messy bitch that starts trauma when it comes to arguing about Christmas movies. Oh my God, bet. Yeah, my favorite Christmas movie is probably, I mean, if okay. There's there's two categories of favorites in my life and in general, right? Like in general. So like um if you ask me what my favorite like food is, I have two versions of what my favorite is, right? And one of those things is going to be what my personal favorite is. And then my other category is what my favorite is with Dustin. And I don't know why, but it's just those are like, because they're so equivalent and they can be very, very different. Do you know what I mean? So, like, my favorite Christmas movie is Gremlins, but I think my favorite me and Dustin Christmas movie experience is Home Alone and Home Alone 2. You know? Because like what defines it really? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, like what makes it a Christmas movie? It can it not just be that it takes place during the time, you know? That it's during that time of year and that's all it really needs to be? You know? Especially because I'm such a big fan, as we know, of holiday horror. You know, it's not exactly evoking a uh, "'tis the season, love your neighbor" kind of thing. Um, Favorite Christmas movies are Krampus and Scrooge. That's great. I'm also obsessed with any version of A Christmas Carol. I love that story. I love the spookum. I love the learn your lesson. You know what I'm saying? I love that. Um, and I love that it's a fucking ghost story. You know what I'm saying? I love that. Muppet Christmas Carol, sickening. No notes. That is my one of my top two favorite Muppet features. Um, my favorite Muppet movie is Muppet Treasure Island. I mean, Tim Curry. Come on, you know. But yeah, Muppet Christmas Carol slaps. The Disney version of A Christmas Story is so strange. Do you mean A Christmas Carol, Tyler? Do you mean A Christmas Carol? Or do you mean the Christmas Story sequel? Really? You didn't like that? Dustin doesn't like that movie either. The one with Jim Carrey, the animation. He doesn't like it. I think it's fun. I think it's cool. But then again, he doesn't like that. Dustin doesn't like that Polar Express realism looking animation. He doesn't like that. It freaks him out, you know? Tyler, I'm so exhausted. I got tattooed today. Oh my God, flex. Where? What'd you get? Where? I'm getting more. I'm getting more. That's for fucking sure. So yeah, Dustin doesn't like the Polar Express. He doesn't like A Christmas Carol, the Disney one with Jim Carrey, the animation. He doesn't like it. And Dustin has a weird beef with Will Ferrell. So he can't stand Elf, like, at all. Which I'm like, all right. Fuck. I mean, my favorite Christmas movie is Gremlins, you know? Oh yeah, the stop motion animation movies, Santa's coming to town, Rudolph. Those were so great. Oh yeah, Jim Carrey Grinch, top tier. Oh, period. See, I don't count that. See, that's funny because that's not just a Christmas movie in our house. That is oh, you feel like watching it in the middle of the summer, throw it on. You know what I'm saying? Like there's such a I don't know. That movie is art, you know? Oh, good, Tyler. Okay, so you and Kev, you guys agree with Dustin. Yeah. No, what's funny, fun fact about Dustin. Dustin knows the Jim Carrey Grinch movie. He knows it forward and backward. He knows every word to that movie. Every fucking word. And I know that might not sound, people are like, okay, yeah, what big deal, right? Like he knows the whole movie. But no, but for Dustin, that's weird. You know, Dustin is not a cinephile. He's not a movie freak. He's not like that, you know? So for him to have a movie obsession, I was like, oh my God, I'm turned on. This is so cool, you know? Sad movies for Christmas. Oh my God, Taylor. But yeah, I love Krampus is fun. A Christmas Story, I mean, I think it's just shoved down our throats so much that we're like, yeah, all right. But I really love Krampus. I really love Black Christmas. I love those movies. And most of them I like, but my favorite one is actually the 2000s remake with Gretchen Wieners and the lady from My Big Fat Greek Wedding, and there's a few people in it actually. But it's they really gave Billy the killer. They really gave him depth and more backstory. You know, I have not seen Violent Night yet. It's on my list. It is on my list. But yeah, I really like Black Christmas a lot. That one's fun. And did you know, I think I said this on another live earlier this week, but did you know that, in the very beginning, Violent Night is absolutely so bad that it may be good. See, I love that though. You know what I mean? Terrifier 3, top-notch Christmas movie. What's my other one? Black Christmas, Krampus, Gremlins. Danny sent me a list of them that I haven't checked out yet, but I need to. I forgot what I was going to say. You really enjoyed it. A solid dark comedy horror. Epic. I'm here for it. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here for it. Sometimes the bad movies are the best. Yes, absolutely. Well, and like Dustin and I were supposed to be kicking off my Christmas Carnage nightly viewing, but now the fucker's in the hospital. Like, deck the halls, I guess. You know? God. I can't wait till he's like kind of I can't wait till he's going to be in the ICU for a minute, but I mean, I can't wait till because he's not like quite coherent, right? Like, how rude of him to get sick. What the fuck? But yeah, so he's like kind of like loopy and like not quite coherent right now. So like bringing him anything is kind of pointless. Conversation with him is weird right now, which is kind of odd to like watch your loved one not be all there. So yeah, but I can't wait until he's like stable enough for me to be like, hey, I'm gonna go home and throw on like a movie and you put it on at the same time on your phone and we'll watch it together. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but Danny sent me a list of spooky holiday movies. I love it. Probably get best if he's just not present. It allows him to focus on resting. Yes. Yeah, I mean, honestly, when I was there, yeah, Danny, I haven't checked out the list yet, but I need to. I've left it unread so that I can make sure that I remember to look at it. But now that Dustin's in the hospital, I'm gonna need some distraction. So, yeah, I appreciate you. You're helping me out. But yeah, when I was there after the afternoon live, hanging out with him, we were chit-chatting a little bit, and he was kind of dozing in and out, and I kind of dimmed the lights a little bit, and he just conked out. So I mean, I mostly just watched him sleep for a couple hours, you know, played on my phone, posted content. Hope you're taking care of yourself a bit too during this time. No, I am. I'm making sure. That's why his mom is here as well. She's kind of frontline. She's like taken over and like very much in it. So I'm very like, let the people do what they need to do, you know? And well, and his mom like works at a nursing home and she used to be a CNA. So like she kind of has some experience with these things. So she's very hands-on with it. So I'm kind of just taking a back seat and just letting her mom, you know. Yes, Mama Bear activated. So she's going to be here with him, and so that I can work and do what I need to do and take care of the dogs and stuff like that. Physical touch and quiet is the best thing you could do. Yeah, I was literally just letting him sleep. I was actually holding his hand, and just kind of playing on my phone, you know. So what else you gonna do? We're still waiting to hear some things, and I just refuse to let my brain go to any, you know, nothing too far past the middle. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not handling it super great. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm not handling it super well, but like I'm also not letting myself be distraught and be like, oh my God, he's not okay. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not letting that happen so that because I don't know anything. So it's still like figuring out what's going on. So when I know more, then I'll be upset, you know? Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate that. So let's do some collective reads, shall we? Let's just pull some cards and we'll just see what happens. Yeah, exactly, Danny. Jamali, what are you doing? What are you barking at, Miss Girl? Huh? What you barking at? I will feed you after the live. Yes, I'll feed you after. And you are a bad boy, so I don't know why you're jumping on me. You're on my shit list right now. All right, collective. Some full moon collective energy. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it seems relevant to me, of course, because it's a collective and it's coming from me. But Queen of Swords energy is always about, trying not to anticipate problems, but deal with them if and when they happen, and that there's change going on, right? So that resonates with me personally. Anybody else? Yes, maybe we're experiencing some change and we need to make sure that we kind of focus on the facts and take things as they happen and make sure to be direct. You know what I mean? Like, especially for me right now, like when the doctors are like, do you have any questions? I'm like, yes, several actually. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not afraid to be direct and because it's a lot of fucking information, it's a lot of information they throw at you at the hospital. So it's like, break it down for me. What's the goal for today? Like, what can I expect for today? Oh no, fiance cheated. Oh girl. No, no, no. With all the holiday chaos, feel that as well. Yes, absolutely. And it can also be just giving the change of the ending and new beginning. You can be, you know what I mean? Of like the new year. Therapy, that could be part of it as well, the ending and new beginning of that, and just kind of making sure that you take everything at face fucking value right now, So Knight of Pentacles, skirt, stillness, slam on the brakes. You're at a red light, deer crossing, something like something's in the way, and we're at a standstill. We're at a pause. We're at a stop. So we have to kind of, I don't even know what a new beginning could even be. Well, Taylor, maybe it could just be the new year. You know what I mean? Maybe it could literally just be December into January, 25 into 26. It could literally just be that, But yeah, the stillness is needed. The need to be in the moment, to be present. Everything is at a standstill. It's important that we're in the moment, that we take things step by step. I just said that, didn't I? I'm repeating myself. And then Six of Wands. When I saw this, I don't know why, but my first thought was rally. Rally the troops, rally together, rally the passionate people. And again, for me personally, it feels like, get the help I need in order. Let the people that, oh my God, I lost my whole train of thought. Gather together, let the people know that need to know that you can get that you need help from. Let them know. You know what I mean? So rally the troops, find victory in numbers. Find your tribe. How's that for some full moon energy? Resonating with anybody? Good. I feel like that's just the tip of the iceberg. Yes. All right. Well, let's do another 3 card and talk about what is blocking us. currently. Okay. What is in the way right now? What are we gripping or holding on to unnecessarily? What do we need to let go of? Where can we where are we focused unnecessarily, you know? So, what are the blockages that exist for us right now that can be shown in this full moon and helmets on in this full moon energy? Hmm. Hmm. Well, shit. Jesus. All right. The Magician is a blockage. So let's talk about that, chat, right? Like, so if the Magician is about manifestation, creation, um, uh, demonstrating the life that you want for you, if that were to show up as a blockage or a reversal, you know, what does that feel like to you guys? You know, maybe just that the manifestations are on hold right now. We don't have access to the energy that we need, maybe, or we just can't. All of our projects or our creative endeavors are kind of on hold now for other things in the moment, you know? Tyler says our affirmations and manifestations aren't on the same page. Ooh, okay. Okay. I like that. Maybe now is not the right time. Yeah, okay, Brums. Makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. No, but wait, there's more. The other blockage we have is Five of Pentacles energy, which I feel is pretty obvious. That it's the hardship that we're physically going through right now. And nothing says hospital to me like Five of Pentacles energy, applying it to myself here. So nothing says hospital quite like the Five of Pentacles. So maybe it's the reality of the situation. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's the reality of logistics or hardship. Maybe it's the reality of struggle that we have to make sense of. What are our thoughts on that? I feel like Five of Pentacles is, you know, right? Literally on crutches, literally. But I feel like the Five of Pentacles, the lesson, it's a five, and it comes from the Hierophant, so it is about lessons, and the lesson to be learned is about, you know, how you navigate hardship. The willpower from you and the energy are not in alignment to give the manifestation a boost. Very nice, very nice. Okay. The audacity of these cards right now. So the point is to fix and adjust in any way you can for the better outcome. Yeah, I mean, honestly. So, and then the last blockage we have is Two of Cups energy. So this could be a few things. That one could be maybe the blockage is that we lack vulnerability. Maybe we're closed off to communicating. Danny says, I also feel like with the Five of Pentacles, it's saying that you're not to beat yourself up with the lack of energy. Okay. I like that. I like this collective uh web we're weaving right now. That's great. So much more to a collective reading when it's participatory. You know what I mean? That's so great. Those are my favorite kind of reads anyway. So yeah, Two of Cups energy, what are we thinking? It could either be that it's vulnerability that we're lacking, or that we're kind of closed off to talking about a certain situation in order to heal. It could also be that like a blockage is overshare. It could be the other side of that extreme as well, you know? But I don't think to me it's not reading that way, honestly. The line of this Magician, Five of Pentacles, Two of Cups, the line of it to me reads like, hey, right now our manifestations are kind of on hold. We're really understaffed, you know, so we're like, we don't have the hands that we need right now. So it's going to be a minute. And I apologize for your wait. We understand you had a reservation, but it's going to be a little bit, you know what I mean? So, and it's like, you know, my reads are what, why, how, right? So I guess the why is because we need to make peace with some reality that we have going on right now as well. Some reality, some hardship that we can't control or didn't anticipate, something that's supposed to be a lesson or a learning experience right now. And make sure that we're not closed off, you know, make sure that we're not resisting conversing. Have drinks with friends is the how. Yes. Yes, Tyler. Yes. When we are dwelling on the blockage, which is not allowing us to be able to move on. Yeah. Well done, chat. Does that make sense for everybody? Yeah. So the blockages we're cool with, right? Or it could be your deities or guides saying for you to lean on them and work through the pain. I mean, with that 5, yeah. Packing my bags, I'll see you in a few hours. Period. I would love that, Tyler. Honestly. So we've talked about our blockages. Let's talk about what our strengths are during this full moon Gemini cold moon energy, the super full moon energy. Let's talk about our collective strength right now. To be real, this is a lot like how my private sessions go. My general reads, my general private sessions, the 30-minute ones, like that's kind of how we do this. I do a general spread, 5 cards. That's a little bit of everything. And then I do 3 cards of just like general advice. Then we talk about your blockages, your strengths, and any questions you have that we didn't cover. So if you're interested, my books are open. So, and like collectively, right? Like maybe our collective manifestations are on hold because we're still feeling the twinge and hardship of government shutdowns and, you know, hardships with the economy right now. So the solution is to like sympathize with each other and your fellow man, you know? All right. What are our strengths? I mean, I really can't argue with that though. Period, poo. Well, friends, our collective strength is our intuition. Page of Cups energy. Our ability to feel the emotional message attached to things, to be able to follow our gut. That one's pretty dead on, right? Oh, hang on. Sorry, friends. Oh, somebody's calling me. I gotta go. Hello? Yep. Sure. Yeah. 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 Yes. Yeah, I mean it's been pretty new. I mean, as of like me bringing him in there initially, it's been this weird wonky what's wrong with your brain kind of going on right now. And then, but yeah, I noticed this afternoon when I was in there with him that we would be trying to have a conversation, and then he would just all of a sudden stop talking to me and like stare off against the wall, and like look away like at into space, and then describe some weird something, you know. So yeah, 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 yeah. Right, like you're not seeing ghosts and shit. Yeah, no, but he's it's like it's weird. It's like he kind of doesn't know what he is. And so yeah, his confidence level all is not wrong. When they ask him like, "Who's your birthday?" He goes, "Dustin." It's just not the right thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just kind of question. Oh, she left. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that, friends. Let me get Instagram up and running again. Stand by. Sorry about that. Had a call from the hospital, so I had to answer, you know, of course, duh. Anticipate something that's supposed to be a lesson or experience right now. Stop. Okay. Let me get Instagram back up in here. Oh my goodness. We were in the middle of a spread. We were in the middle of a read. We were in the middle of a reading. We're not done. No sound? Testing? Hello? How about now? Do we have sound now on Instagram? Is the sound all right? Yes? No? We were in the middle of a reading. And we need to finish that reading. Still don't have sound. Weird. Okay, let me try it again. Hang on a second. Oh, I'm breaking stuff. All right. How about now? Do we have sound? Instagram, can you hear me? Yeah, okay, good. Perfection. Yeah, we were in the middle of a read. We're not done yet. Yes. No, thank you. Sorry about that. But yeah, obviously the hospital called, so I had to answer. Sorry about that. Nothing to worry about. Everything's fine. The nurse just wanted to make sure that we were on the same page of like information. So that's all. We were talking about our strengths. So the first one is the strength of our intuition, our ability to understand things emotionally right now. Our other strength is just the Wheel of Fortune. Now, how does that strike you all? What does that say to you? is the strength that, you know, we have luck on our side, perhaps, or that we have the ability to turn things around, maybe? What are your thoughts? I feel that's a fair understanding of it as a strength, you know? Manifesting luck and good fortune as a strength. Yeah. So kind of just a suggestion that good things are happening. Yeah. I'm here for it. And the other strength we have is Page of Swords energy. So the strength to remove, I guess, you know what I mean? Like the strength to be able to kind of cut things off or to remain positive, remove the toxicity from things. Hi, Zoe. You're still a bad boy. You gotta get down. I will feed you when I'm done. So yeah, these strengths are really lovely. And there's 2 pages, which I think is great because the pages are youthful, messenger. They're new to court. So they're optimistic and they've got a lot of energy and they're excited about it, you know? So our strengths are kind of the things are just beginning here, and our the fact that we might be this is in perhaps the suggestion there is that this is a new experience as well, you know. So and maybe that's the strength here also. So what are you doing? Hey, hear you eating something. um so maybe the fact that this is a newish experience for us is a strength, you know, and that kind of gives us beginner's luck in a way, you know. So I like that, and I like that for me especially. It resonates with me, or I hope it does. I feel like I'm pretty in tune emotionally with what's going on right now with me and my husband and everything, and I'm trying to stay positive and to because his mom is you know kind of assuming the worst a little bit, and I was too there for a minute, but then like I'm like yeah, but I don't know, and like I'm just gonna make it worse for me, for him, you know, I'm just gonna make it worse. Um, so, um, so yeah, maybe the severing of the toxic is a really good strength right now. The ability to remain positive and to um, cut the stuff that just doesn't make sense, you know. So, but I like the Wheel of Fortune as a strength. That's a great thing. Yeah. All right, and then I like to seal it all with one last little extra. Yeah, Queen of Cups energy. Make sure you take care of yourself in the process. That's it. Pretty simple. Make sure you're taking care of you. The other thing about the Wheel of Fortune is that things are in cycles. What's bad now will get better. Yeah. Facts, Danny. Facts. So yeah, I guess the last thing here is Queen of Cups energy. Love on you. Make sure that as you focus on and you're enduring transformation and change, that you're being compassionate with yourself. You know, a lot of the things coming out of my mouth the past couple of days have been like, yes, I understand, I hear you, but now it's what do we do now? You know what I'm saying? It's what do we do next? Like, it doesn't really matter why, or it doesn't really matter what happened. What matters is like what we do now, you know? So it's been a lot of that for me. So anyway, Sorry I had to cut our read in the middle of a phone call, but thank you for sticking around for it. Are we ready for some spookum? I know I am. This one is called Fresh as the New Fallen Snow. Spookums. All right. Where the fuck is the babysitter? Language, John. Antonia Daniels somehow managed to make even criticism sound vaguely bored, like she couldn't imagine she had to lower herself to correct the behavior of others. Her attention remained fixed on the silver oval of the hallway mirror as she adjusted the sleek coils of her hair. I can watch the girls, said the lanky teenage boy in the living room doorway. He looked anxiously at his mother, then over at his pacing father. John Daniels was not and had never been a patient man. If something didn't break his mood soon, he was going to ruin date night. When date night got ruined, Mom was disappointed. And when Mom was disappointed, everyone suffered. Andy was only 16, but he had long since figured out that keeping his parents smiling was the key to a happy life. You will do no such thing, Andrew, snapped his father. Your little sisters are not your responsibility. Babysitting is for flighty girls who need to learn skills for their futures and who don't have your brains or advantages. I'm sorry, the fuck? What you said, father? And he didn't say anything. This wasn't a winnable fight. She'll be here any minute, said Antonia, finally turning away from the mirror. She looked perfect. She always looked perfect. As a realtor, looking perfect was one of her best methods of clinching a sale. Really, John, calm down. We have plenty of time to reach the restaurant. Annie swallowed a derisive laugh. Mom was the one advocating calm, but she could be the one who took it out on the rest of them if this night didn't go as planned. Almost on cue, the wail of his youngest sister blared from her bedroom upstairs. Great, and now the damn baby's awake, said John venomously. I'll get her, said Andy. This time, neither of his parents moved to stop him. Without a babysitter, it was him or them. And no matter how much his father tried to write off childcare as women's work, he would sooner allow his teenage son to do the job than lift a finger to do it himself. The air seemed to brighten and grow sweeter as Andy pounded up the stairs away from the cloud that always hovered over his parents in moments like this. They were going out because it was almost Christmas, and because their social capital depended on people seeing them as good, kind, and loving. The sort of folks who would sit down for a good meal once a month as a treat, while their perfectly cared for, pampered children enjoyed a little recreational naughtiness under the eye of a well-paid local babysitter. That didn't mean they enjoyed each other's company or the necessity of putting on the show. The baby's room was at the far end of the hall. He paused, knowing she would continue to wail until he reached her, to stick his head into his middle sister's room. Chloe was sitting on the floor at the foot of her bed, hair in her face as she hunched her shoulders and tried to focus on her book. Hey, he said, voice hushed. She looked up, and for a moment she reminded him of nothing more than a startled fawn standing at the edge of the woods, entire body vibrating with the readiness to run. She tilted her head ever so slightly toward the floor, and he nodded, pressing a finger to his lips. Her nod was vigorous, almost violent. Soon, he said, and moved on toward Diane's room. As expected, the baby was standing in her crib, a bar grasped tight in each pudgy hand, her face screwed up in an expression of anger and misery. Aw, Puddin', he said, and scooped her up. She kept wailing. A quick check confirmed the reason why. She had soiled her diaper, leaving her sopping wet. That has to be uncomfortable, he said, bouncing her as he walked toward the changing table. Diane answered with another wail. Don't you worry, we'll get you fixed right up. Midway through changing Diane's diaper, he heard the door slam. The tension left his shoulders in the same moment, leaving him more relaxed than he'd been since his father had announced that they would be auditioning a new babysitter. According to the cartoon cat clock on Diane's wall, just the thing for a model nursery, claimed his mother, who always liked her house to look like it was ready to go on the market. The sitter had been 2 minutes early. Not that that was going to save her. She was never going to work in this house again. She definitely wouldn't be getting a tip. Hello? The voice was sweet and female, with some unidentifiable accent. Eastern European, maybe, or Russian. Andy relaxed a little more and took his time getting Diane's new diaper on. The babysitter was in the house. Things were going to be okay. Dry and diapered, Diane clung to his shoulder as he walked back down the hall to the stairs. Chloe was peeking her head cautiously out of her room. He motioned for her to follow, and she did, creeping along at his heels. Her steps were soft as ever, measured so as not to make too much noise. Their mother hated it when she made noise. The babysitter waited at the bottom of the stairs. She was tall and slender with white blonde hair that fell most of the way down her back. She was wearing a high-length blue sweater, thigh-length blue sweater dress, spangled, with silver snowflakes, and just looking at her made Andy feel faintly grubby, like he needed to take a shower long enough to strip off the top layer of his skin. She looked up at them as they descended. She smiled, and he realized he couldn't tell whether or not she was pretty. Something about the shape of her face seemed slightly off, like she had been assembled in a dark room by someone who wasn't entirely sure what a teenage girl was supposed to look like. Hello, she repeated, without a questioning lilt. You must be the children. My name is very difficult to pronounce in this country. You may call me Raisha, or Raisa. I would prefer it. You are? I'm Andy, and this is Diane, said Andy, holding his baby sister up for his sitter to see. I'm Chloe, said Chloe. She narrowed her eyes. We're not stupid. We can learn your name. I'm sure you could. Really, I am. But we have so little time together. And do you really want to spend it on a tongue twister? Raisa smiled like the sun reflecting off of new fallen snow. Let me be simple for tonight. If we meet again in the future, then I can be complicated. Now, you. Her eyes went to Andy. You seem grown for a sitter. Are you my responsibility or no? There was a snare buried somewhere in that question. Andy could feel it tickling the back of his neck, even if he couldn't quite see it. Quickly, he reviewed the responsibilities of the babysitter. She was supposed to make dinner, fish sticks and tater tots. She was supposed to supervise the younger children, which technically meant playing board games with Chloe and reading picture books to Diane, but functionally meant watching television more than half the time. When a sitter never stayed long enough to develop a routine, they would usually default to the lowest difficulty. But Diane didn't like having books read to her by strangers. And when he told the sitters that he wasn't part of their job responsibilities, they had a tendency to view him hanging around to keep an eye on Chloe as some weird form of hitting on them. He was exhausted from waiting for his parents to explode. Maybe it would be nice to have someone in charge of him for the evening. Yes, said Andy, pulling Diane a little defensively closer. We all are. The sitter looked at him, and for a moment, the hallway light shining in her eyes turned them entirely opaque, like clouded ice, stealing all their color away. Then she moved her head, changing the angle of the light, and they were bright and blue again. She smiled. She seemed to always be smiling. 3 on 1. Oh, won't this be a lovely night? She clapped her hands. Andy jumped a little. Diane pressed her face into his shoulder. Your parents has left me a list. Who wants fish sticks? All of them, it turned out, wanted fish sticks. Even Diane, who had reached a stage where she was happy to wrap one chubby fist around a breaded prize and gnaw at it with more enthusiasm than skill. Andy deftly took over getting her settled in her chair while he watched the babysitter out of the corner of his eye, noting with some relief that she actually seemed to know how to handle Chloe. His mother had a tendency to hire sitters based more on how they'd look to someone watching from the street than their experience with children. His life had been a succession of short-term sitters who didn't know which end of the baby was which. Chloe shyly began telling Raisa about the book she was reading, some magical adventure with horses and secret princesses and evil overlords who needed overthrowing, and Andy turned her out, focusing on Diane, who had somehow managed to pull her shirt off without unfastening the straps holding onto her chair. Classic. By the time he was finished getting her sorted, the fish sticks were ready. Raisa brought them to the table along with the tater tots, the milk, and still babbling Chloe, who was now exploding into joyous narrative. Someone who wasn't Andy was listening to her, paying attention to her. And he smiled at the sight while his heart ached like it was being squeezed. She was 9 years old. She deserved better than a house filled with chilly silence and unexplained rules. Now then, eat quickly and without getting tartar sauce on the ceiling, and you shall have a story after we are done, said Raisa, clapping her hands in almost childish glee. I have a lovely one for you tonight. You will be sorry to miss it. And he blinked at her before he grinned. Noticing his expression, Raisa raised her eyebrows questioningly. What? Have I said something wrong? No, he said. You're just the first sitter we've had who wanted to tell us a story. Then you have had very poor sitters in the past, and I'm sorry, she said. Annie didn't have an answer for that. Somewhere their parents were eating steak and lobster and fiddly appetizers, sipping champagne and smiling at each other like lovesick teens. Somewhere the in crowd was murmuring about how in love they were and by extension, how much they loved their children. Somehow the polite somewhere the polite fiction of their family history continued. But in the house, which felt warm and safe for once, without the constant looming shadow of their parents waiting to fall on them for the slightest transgression, Raisa washed the fish stick off Diane's fingers and pressed a kiss to the burbling toddler's forehead, blowing on the still baby fine hairs that grew there. She helped Chloe carry the dishes to the sink and kissed her too, high on the crown of her head, where her hair was parted. Andy grinned as she approached him. What? He asked, only half kidding. Do I get a kiss too? Of course, silly boy, she said. They're for all my charges tonight. When the north wind blows, he blows for all, not only for the privileged. She leaned in and kissed his forehead. Her lips were cold. Come now, she said, dropping back to the flats of her feet. Your sisters are waiting. Andy, who hadn't noticed when she took Diane from her high chair, which was alarming. He usually kept track of Diane no matter what, even when he was at school and she was in daycare with her nanny. He blinked. Yeah, he said, and got up and followed her. Chloe was already in the living room, perching on the absolute edge of the couch cushion with an awkward look on her face, like she was waiting to be thrown out. Andy smiled at her. She smiled unsteadily back, relaxing only when he came and sat beside her, flopping all the way into the corner. Chloe wrinkled her nose at him. We're not supposed to wrinkle the upholstery, she said. I'll clean it up before Mom gets home. I'll clean it up before Mom gets home. Yes. They both turned to stare at Raisa, Chloe guilty and Andy wary, twisting his body so as to shield his sister as much as possible. Their sitter looked sad and oddly disappointed, like she had expected better of the world. Melly, what are you doing? Leave that alone. I'm so sorry. This, she said, using a wave of her free hand to encompass the living room. It had been decorated for Christmas on the 1st of December, when a huge production had been made of the delivery of the tree. Everything was perfect, and why wouldn't it be? None of them had been using it since the holiday season had begun. Their parents had their rules, had seen to that. Still, Raisa looked confused and kept frowning sadly, even as Diane began chewing on a hank of her silvery hair. This is not for you. This is not for the warmth and coming together of the season. We're not supposed to be in here without an adult, said Chloe uncomfortably. We break things. Do you now? I doubt that very much. You're both old enough to know better. And this one, Raisa gave Diane a bounce, is too small to make it in here unescorted. Unless you are in a habit of unwinding her up and letting her dance among the ornaments, I feel you have given me an excuse. Our father paid a lot of money for these decorations, and we have to keep them nice for company, said Andy. Ah, company. Yes. I suppose company is important when one has so few friends. Raisa continued, bouncing the baby as if she hadn't just said something unbelievable, while Andy and Chloe stared. After a moment, she appeared to notice them and asked with faint concern, what is it now? Do you know our parents? Asked Chloe. Oh, I do, said Raisa. I know everyone. But I promised you a story, didn't I? Yes, a story. And you were all my responsibility. Have all accepted food from my hands and kindness from my lips. You should all have the chance to hear it before our time together ends. She sat cross-legged in the middle of the room, in the middle of the living room floor, the baby in her lap. Diane still chewing on the sitter's flaxen hair. Andy suppressed a shiver. It felt like the heat had been turned down. He wanted to check it. Dad would throw a fit if he came home to a cold house, but he didn't want to move. Something about their babysitter, the way she sat, the way she held herself. He didn't want to leave until he'd heard the things she had to say. You know of Santa Claus, yes? She asked. And then she grinned, sudden and bright and beautiful. Oh, of course you do. All good children of the world know Santa Claus. But did you know that he is not the only open hand of winter? The world knew, you see. The humans would be small, fragile things compared to the sturdiness of a bear or the wildness of the wildness of a wolf. And so when it came time to decide who would watch over them, the world set so many guardian spirits to their care that it became necessary to divide things among them. Winter watches and winter rewards, not only through Santa Claus, but through 100 of his cousins and thousands of their families. Is Winter a person? Asked Chloe shyly. She was still young enough to be enthralled by a story, no matter how cold the room was. Although maybe Andy had been wrong about the heat, it was starting to feel quite comfortable now. Winter is an idea, and an idea shared by everyone in the world becomes alive in its own way, said Reza. Bears and wolves thought of winter, trees and flowers thought of winter, and now humans think of winter, and the winter continues and flourishes and changes to be what they believe. Winter is a season, said Andy. It's not a person. It would exist whether anyone thought about it or not. But the planet had to think of winter before we could have it. Do you not look upon your grandmother's children and claim that just because you've never met them before yourself, their gifts aren't any less good? Race's tone was mild, but the warning it contained was unmistakable. Shall I continue? Please, said Chloe. Andy said nothing. Racist smiled. Very good, she said. So you know of Santa Claus, and you know that winter has many hands, many faces. Now allow me to tell you of... I'm not going to be able to read this. Stop! Let me tell you of Snegorcha, the Snow Maiden. Her grandfather is a man named Ded Moroz, who walked through Russia when the wind howls and the snow comes down. He is like your Santa Claus. He gives good gifts, and the Snow Maiden follows behind him, peeping in windows and seeing what is done with his generosity. That's a little creepy, said Andy. Perhaps, said Reza. But if your little sister gave her favorite doll to a child who asked for it, wouldn't you want to be sure that child was not going to scribble on it with crayons or cut off all its hair? Wouldn't you want to know it was loved? Andy said nothing. The Snow Maiden loves all little children. Even her grandfather does. She has no parents of her own. Ded Moroz made her from the enchanted snow that fell in his garden. And what saddens her most of all is parents who not care for the things they have. She does not look for letters written to ask for toys or trinkets. She does not look for letters at all. She looks for other things. Like naughty kids? Asked Andy sarcastically. He should have known that a first-time babysitter in a home this impeccably maintained, with employers who paid well, and as his parents did, wouldn't be looking to tell them a nice little bedtime story. Stop. It was going to be another morality play about how kids who didn't listen would be punished. He had only known Reza for a few hours, but he still felt disappointed and oddly betrayed. He had already been thinking better of her than that. No, she said with crisp fierceness that made him sit up a little straighter in his seat. Children are... There are bad children. I won't lie and claim to you that such things do not exist. You would laugh at me. The children are like snow, fresh and new fallen, waiting to be sculpted by their parents, molded into some shape that will see through winter. The snow maiden does not look for letters or for the naughty children in need of punishment. She looks for tracks in the snow, snowmen sculpted without kindness, without care for their form. She looks for children who are suffering, for parents who do not understand that they have been given a great and precious gift. She looks for children who could be great if only the snow that made them were melted down and given to someone else for safekeeping. Chloe inched a little closer to Andy on the couch and said nothing. Bouncing Diane to keep her quiet, Raisa leaned forward and asked in a conspiratorial tone, "Would you like to hear the story now?" "Yes," whispered Andy. "Once upon a time," she said, "there was a family that lived in a beautiful city, very far from the winter woods. They had everything they could possibly want, but they were not happy. They could have been, if they had been willing to see how good their lives were. They had a house with a strong roof and thick walls. They had food to fill their bellies and warmth to fill their nights. They had each other. And while there was not the greatest gift, and they had each other, and while that was not the greatest gift of all, do not ask a starving child to choose between company and a crust of bread, unless you are willing to accept whichever he should choose. It could have been enough to soften the sting of living in a cold world. It could have been enough." Raisa looked at each of them in turn, even Diane, who had quieted and was staring at the babysitter with wide, rapt eyes. The children were good because they were still children. They had not yet had enough time to be spoiled. Fresh as the new fallen snow they were, and held fast to each other because they had nothing else to hold on to. But the parents, Raisa made a clicking sound in the back of her throat. There was a special place in hell for people who bring children into this world solely for the sake of seeming better than they are. These parents were not cruel in a way that any outside the house could see. They did not strike with hands or withhold food. The roof was strong for parent and child alike. "So, how were they bad?" asked Chloe in a meek voice. "They withheld love," Raisa said simply. "They refused to treasure what had been given to them. Maybe it was not their fault. Maybe no one had treasured them. Maybe the snow maiden, so busy trusting in people to tell her when she was needed, should have come a generation, 2 generations, 3 generations before. Maybe if she had come when they were being sculpted, she could have melted them down and reshaped them into people who would be doing better for their children. But she did not. She was far away, doing other things. And they had been allowed to grow to adulthood, to become frozen in the forms they are now. This is the secret, children. All things are limited, even impossible things like Dead Morose or the Snow Maiden. Because she did not stop their parents from freezing, these children, these precious, precious children, were left to grow in a house that was warm and clean and beautiful and knew nothing of love." Andy said nothing. "But she is always listening, the Snow Maiden. She's always looking for the good, unfrozen snow. The snow that can still be melted cleanly down and reshaped into something else." Raisa smiled down at Diane. There was ice in her eyes. This family, it had been as it was for many years, long enough for the children to have had teachers who noticed they are sad. Long enough for the parents to have spoken a little too freely in the company of others after they'd been drinking too deep of their sweet mulled wine. They thought they were clever, hiding their children away behind walls of manners and appearances. They did not count on hiring a babysitter who remembered the Snow Maiden. "You?" asked Chloe, wide-eyed. Raisa shook her head. "No, sweet girl, not I. Another whose grandmother had been born far away from here, who had seen a family visited by the Snow Maiden when they failed to live up to the standards of the winter. She looked at these children and her heart broke like a mirror. She stayed with them as long as she could, and when her services were no longer needed over some minor infraction, Tasha ate an apple from Mom's table arrangement," whispered Andy. "She went home and wrote a letter to Dead Morose. She asked him to send his granddaughter to let the Snow Maiden judge for herself what was to be done. The Snow Maiden does not look for letters, you see, but she listens when her grandfather speaks. She always listens. So she came to see if there were children who needed to be released, to be melted back down to clean, clear water, and allowed to fall a second time in a second home as fresh as the new fallen snow. A key turned in the front door. Raisa turned her face toward the sound, already rising, holding Diane out to Andy. He took her as he stood, Chloe hurrying to smooth out the wrinkles on the couch upholstery. Remember, said Raisa softly, you said that you were my responsibility. The door began to open. Andy glanced at the clock and blanched. It was after 11. How had so much time gone by? He couldn't remember wasting that much of the evening. Did the damn heater break? Why is it so cold in here? Where the hell's the babysitter? Andy turned. His parents were in the living room doorway, both frowning, looking none the calmer for their night out. Well, demanded the father, where is she? Diane screwed up her face and began to whimper. Andy bounced her in his arms, automatically trying to soothe her. It was the wrong move. Oh, God, said his mother, stepping forward to sweep the baby into her own arms. You threw her out, didn't you? Nothing is ever good enough for you, I swear. Diane, who had already started to learn that upsetting their mother was not a good idea, quieted, although her whimpers continued. Yes, said Andy, through the fog of slow horror that was beginning to cloud his mind. He felt Chloe move closer to him, hiding herself from her parents' wrath. I'm sorry. Antonia, John touched his wife's arm. At least we didn't have to pay her. Antonia shot a look of pure fury at him before snapping. Apparently your son didn't think it was important for the baby to have her bath before he threw the sitter out. I'll be in the bathroom. She turned on her heel and stalked away, carrying Diane with her. John remained in the doorway for a few beats more, looking at Andy and Chloe. Then he turned and walked away. The heater came on a few seconds later. Andy felt Chloe's cold arms lock around his waist, felt the wetness seeping from her cheek and through his clothing. He raised his hand, looking at it dispassionately. It looked the same as it ever had, save for the faintly translucent tips of his fingers. They were beginning to drip on the carpet. Fat, painless droplets like tears. It didn't hurt. The Snow Maiden was kind after all. From the bathroom, from the direction into the tub filled with hot, soapy, unforgiving water, he heard his mother start to scream. Andy closed his eyes and waited for the thaw. She done turned down the puddles. Wow. That one was fun. I like the babysitter. That was really cool. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. It's a little later than I intended, but thank you for sticking around and for the second part of this live after I got that phone call. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I need to get off here and have some food and try to relax and, try to decompress a little bit. So thank you guys again for joining me. It's been a pleasure as always. I will see you tomorrow at 2 and 9 p.m. For paid reads. I still got to work. So I'll see you tomorrow for paid readings on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. I think it is. Private sessions are at madamadam.com, cameos as well. I'll see you guys later. Have a great night. Thank you for flying Star Tours. Bye-bye.